good to be here. The Lord has been good. Back in 1994, the Lord called us to missions. It started with a short-term mission trip. I worked at that time for Morris Communications. I did probably 80 or 90% of their antenna and tower work and being the service manager of the shop. And we had a mission conference at Faith, and one of the missionaries there had this really nifty tower about this tall with lights and all that on it. And since I was on those a lot, I said, I'm going to check this out. Come to find out, they were getting ready to put up the tower for the harbor light. And I says, well, you have everything you need? No. I says, come on to the house. I've got catalogs. We'll figure it out. And so we were looking over the hardware that was needed, and I made an off-the-cuff remark. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. Well, I ended up going down in 1990 to put that tower up. We were stacking tower, and we had a substantial amount of tower up. We had two sections to go, and the second to the last section was on its way up and then started back down. And I was standing on the tower watching that section fall. And I thought, well, I'm going to be with the Lord today. Well, it didn't yank the tower down, although it shook it pretty good. That brought me to think about what the Lord wanted me to do. Use that short-term trip to call me into missions full-time. I wrote a track, tells a story about putting up that first AM tower, and the track is entitled, Life is Uncertain. And I've handed out a lot of those tracks over the years. But we were ministering there for 24 years. We worked at the Harbor Light, and Rob and Lynn Sider, who were at Morningside here, they went down to start an independent Baptist church. And we were working with them, and Rob got sick from some fish or something he had to come stateside, and they were deciding, what do? We brought all this stuff down for the church. What are we going to do with it? And my wife and I, we were praying and says, the Lord started this ministry for a reason, and can't let it just stop. And my degree's in broadcast engineering. Well, I went to Bob Jones. I had a lot of Bible. I actually took a couple years of Greek. And I was in the preacher boys class for a little bit of time, about a year and a half. When I first transferred into Bob Jones, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to get some more Bible, and so I said, I'd like to take a Bible major, but I'm not going to be a preacher boy. And they said, well, why don't you get your heart right? And so I was in the preacher boys class for about a year and a half, and I remember Dr. Stenholm telling stories about the godly men there at BJ, and one thing that he said that I always remember, it says, I know God's got a sense of humor because he made monkeys, toucans, and some of you people. And the Lord is able to use just about anyone who is willing to serve. And so when the Siders came back to the States, I didn't like getting up in front of people to speak. And the folks there endured some probably pretty dry messages for a while. But the Lord used that, and we got a ministry going there. And over the years, we saw Tyrone come to know the Lord, and he was faithful. And he eventually went to Bible college up in St. Vincent. And when we left the field in 2020, Tyrone took to church. Well, the church was moving along fairly well, and then Hurricane Beryl hit. And the eye of Hurricane Beryl went right over the island of Carriacou. 150-mile-an-hour winds. Operation Renewed Hope sent me down to survey the issue there, and it was devastating. Jane Jaffe Yates, now Jane McPherson, was at Bob Jones. She got a teacher's certificate there. Their house, the kitchen went away, and it was amazing the damage that was done. Tyrone's house, we had a team came down and put the roof on that from Faith, and his house actually stood and the roof stayed on it, but it's on pillars. Now they do post and block construction, and they usually do the upper level first, and then if they have funds, they'll block in the lower level. Well, his house sitting up on pillars, and that hurricane was doing this number on his house. And the pillars were cracked around the top. Of course, their steel goes up into the concrete floor. But one of the contractors there on the island that we've dealt with often, he says, look, he says, you need to wall that up before the steel starts to rust and the house becomes unsecure. And so a team that we organized from Faith was just down there. Kim went down there. I was planning on going down there, but because of my son's significant other is dying, I canceled my trip. Kim went down. I sent funds down by MoneyGram as things were needed, and they were able to dig footers, cast the floor, come up with block, certain height. Lord willing, maybe we can get another team down there to block it on up. But after the hurricane, the church that they were using, the building was a rented building. And we were trying to figure out, what do we do to get church going again? And the guy says, well, I'm going to fix the building. And so he started working on it. Well, he's got other irons in the fire, and it kept being pushed off and pushed off. He told Tyrone, he says, well, you'll be in it by Christmas. They're still not in it. And so the team went down and tried to encourage him to, set some chairs up on the new floor and start services again. But
the floor underneath the house.
That's right. So it appears to be seen whether that'll take place. There's some issues there that I need to talk with Tyrone about, and that the Lord will move there and they'll start having services again. There were two good churches on the island, Windward Bible Church and Open Door Independent Baptist Church, which was the one Tyrone was pastoring. And the Robinsons, who had Windward Bible, after the storm, their house was destroyed. The mission board called them back to the States, and Walt had had a stroke, and he had come back after the stroke, but he still wasn't, up to par, and I don't believe they will ever be back. Well, after he came back, after the stroke happened for years, his church met with us. And so the two congregations kind of were like one. And so with Walt not there and the building not being usable, they haven't had services for the last 6 months. And we're praying that the Lord would work and that they would get things going again, because there's a number of folks that need to be in the Word. They need to be encouraged. We need to get things going again. And when I had to cancel my trip, they gave me credit for the money I'd spent on the ticket, and Lord willing, I'm going to go down there sometime later on to, see if we can't get things moving again. But I appreciate your prayers a lot for the church there, for Tyrone, that he would be able to get things rolling again. He's working for a grocery store there. The man that owns the thing sought Tyrone out because he needed someone he could trust to run the thing. And the problem is that it takes most of his time, and I really would love to see him not have to waste so much time running that grocery store and being able to preach the word. But the Lord's in control of that, and we're praying, looking forward to the possibility of that coming together here very soon. Thank you.